In this lesson, we're going to see how we apply these laws of exponents or indices. Now let's look at number 1. X to the power naught is 1. With other words, b to the power naught is also 1. 2 to the power naught is also 1. And 3,6 to the power naught is also 1. Anything to the power naught is 1 except naught to the power naught is not 1. Please, this is important. Remember this one. Anything else to the power naught is 1. Minus 16 to the power naught is 1. Number 2. Anything to the power 1 is itself. B to the power 1 is b. With other words, we can actually just leave out the thing. If I see x written as a variable, it could be x to the power 1 because I don't have to write a 1. So 3,7 to the power 1 equals 3,7. Anything to the power 1 is that same thing, and that includes naught. Naught to the power 1 is naught. Remember this one? And please don't get mixed up with those two. Please don't do that. Remember, anything naught to the power naught is not 1. But naught to the power 1 is naught. Anything to the power 1 stays the same. Number 3. 2 to the power 3 is equal to 2 times 2 times 2. How many times? 3 times. And 2 times 2 is, 4 times 2 is 8. Let's look at that again. Let's say b to the power 4 is equal to b times b times b. How many times? 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So 6 to the power of 4 is equal to 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. And that is equal to 36. 216. And if I multiply that, I will get 1296. That is 6 to the power 4. The inverse law, we have 2 to the power minus 1. The minus is 1 over 2 to the power 1. And I can leave the 1 out, as we've seen here. I don't have to write that. 2 to the power 1 is 2. So whether I write 2 or 2 to the power 1, it's the same thing. Let's have another look at one of these. 3 to the power minus 3 is equal to, the minus means 1 over 3 to the power 3. And 3 cubed is equal to 27. Let's look at that one. 8 to the power a third. The third is the root. The third becomes the denominator becomes the root of 8 to the power 1. And 8 to the power 1, I can just write like that. And the cube root of 8 is equal to 2. Now, let's look at something that we know, the square root of 4. I can write this as 4 to the power a half. Same thing. That 2 means square root. We don't write the 2 there when we talk about square roots. We just leave it out. So, the square root of 4 is 2. We can look at 64 to the power cube. So, a third. And that is the cube root of 64. And that gives me 4. Now, let's play a little bit with this one, and let's say it is 8 to the power 2 thirds. That means cube root, the denominator, of 8 to the power 2. 8 to the power 2 means the cube root of 8 to the power 2 is 64, and that is 4. So you use the numerator to raise the power of the base. You use the denominator to extract the root of the base raised to the numerator. Let's raise powers. 2 to the power 3 raised to the power 2 becomes 2 to the power 3 times 2 is 6. And 2 to the power 6 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and that is equal to 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. Now let's see what is 2 to the power 3. 2 to the power 3 is 8. And 8 squared is 64. Now, let's have a look at 3 squared times 3 to the power 3. That is equal to 3 to the power 2 plus 3. And that becomes 3 to the power 5. And 3 to the power of 5 is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. 9. 3 times 3 is 9. Times 3 is 27. Times 3 is 81. Times 3 is 243. Get a new page. Divide. Let's take 4 to the power 4, divide by 4 to the power of 1. Let's first have a look what is 4 to, okay, so it's 4 to the power, because I divide I, subtract because the bases are the same. 4 minus 1, and that becomes 4 cubed. Now 4 cubed, we've seen previously, it is 64. Now let's look if it is so. What is 4 to the power 4? 4 to the power 4 is 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and that is equal to 16, 64, 256, and 256 divided by 4. 4 goes into 25 6 times. This is a remainder of 1. 4 goes into 16, 4. So it is true. Now, 2 times 3 squared becomes 2 squared times 3 squared according to law number 9. So, 2 squared is 4 times 9. And 4 times 9 is 36. Let's see if it's true. What is 2 times 3? Is 6. 6 squared is 36. Last one. Let's go to 4 over 2. I'm going to use a simple one to explain this, and we make that squared. This becomes 4 squared over 2 squared. 4 squared is 16 divided by 2 squared is 4, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. Let's see if it's true. What is 4 divided by 2? It's 2. What is 2 squared? It's 4. So we see that law also works. I just want to do 1 or 2 more that is a little bit more complicated. When we start combining a few of these things. Now let's look at a nice combination. If I say a to the power minus x over y, I have now combined the minus and the x over y. This becomes, what does the minus tell me? 1 over the y-th root of a to the power x. The a-th root of x to the power 1 will now read the y-th root of a to the power of x. So let's write here 64, and we make that to the power minus 2 over, and make that 6. So I want the 6th root of 64 squared. And I want the inverse, 1 over. So, let's have a look at that. Don't forget that the minus becomes 1 over. So what we have now is 64 squared, and 64 squared is the 6th root of 4096. The inverse of that, the minus is the inverse. And the 6th root of 4096 is, let's see, 4. But it's the inverse. So the answer is a quarter. Let's see if it's true. What is 2 over 6? It's a third. So what is 64 to the power minus a third? This and that is actually the same thing. I've simplified the fraction just before I've started. Now, you can go and check this on your calculator. Let's just prove that it's true. Minus is 1 over the cube root of 64. And the cube root of 64 is 4, because 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. So, you must just be careful when you start getting combinations. You must just keep a cool head. Let's do one more. I want to do this one with you too, just to show you something. I want to combine number 10 and number 4. So I'm going to say a over b raised to the power minus, and then I want to combine it with number 5 and make this x over y. That is about as rough as you're going to get it. Now, let's have a look. Minus means the inverse of that. Now, if I have 4 to the power minus 1, I make that 1 over 4. The minus means 1 over 4 to the power 1. What does inverse mean? An inverse means if I take that 4, just the 4, and I multiply it with its inverse, I'm going to get 1. Because this 4 I can actually write as 4 over 1. The inverse of something, in this case the multiplicative inverse, is always that with which I can multiply that number to get 1. So now, that minus, I don't have to go and put this 1 over, and now I need to apply that law to both of these things. So there are a big line, that's the line, that one is there. And now, what I'm going to do is the yth root of a to the x. The yth root of a to the x. And at the bottom I'm going to have the yth root of b to the x. Of b to the x. Now when I've multiplied this whole thing out, I'm going to get this. The yth root of b to the x over the yth root of a to the x. So please, when you see a minus there, you've got a negative exponent, and you've got a fraction, just turn them around and get rid of the minus. So, let's put that one. M over n to the power minus 6 over 7, just to be funny. This is going to become, straight away, you say n over m, and you throw the minus away. And the cube root of the seventh root of both of them, the 7th root of both of them, raised to the power of 6. Go through this carefully, and in the next chapter we're going to start with exercises.